Well, hey!
Well, hey! Hello, listeners. It's your host here, Jimmy Ferguson.
GW7.
It is Game Week 7. You heard the man. Ricky Pellegrini is with me. Ricky, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks, Jim. Yeah, not too bad. Happy about the result of the weekend. Not so happy about my FPL team, but we'll get on to that.
Yeah, great result from the Hammers. I mean, Antonio, overhead kick, mate. It was like watching you down at the Brooklyn Common.
I don't know about that, mate, but I was surprised, to be honest. Yeah, like obviously City came out second half as you'd expect. They were putting a lot of pressure on, but we hung in there. I feel like we're really proving the doubters wrong. We're looking like a new team since got his game plan together.
Certainly a great point. And when I say it's like you were actually clearing it over the bar and getting it in your own net. So a little bit not like. Okay, guys, we've also got NVD, how's it going?
All good, mate. All good. Finally back to kind of, winning ways, but VAR working against Liverpool yet again. Shocking.
Definite penalty, mate. Definite penalty.
Oh, well. 3 points in the end, so,
Patrick Vieira, you're back. You must have had a good week.
Yeah, I did very well this week. So, I thought I'd come along and, show my face again. Yeah, I'm not usually here if I don't do very well. So if I'm here, it means that I did pretty good. So
I'm glad you're here, mate. You've got such a pretty of a face on the Zoom. It's sad when you're not here. I've got to look at the others. Captain Russ, especially. How are you, Captain?
Yeah, I'm good. Cheers, Jimmy. Not as so great like in the FPL department, but happy that Spurs went away with a win against Burnley. It's always a difficult game against Burnley, as we all know. They're pretty solid. It was challenged, they were definitely challenged, and we pulled through. So really good result. And a clean sheet.
A little bit jammy though, weren't it, Captain? A little bit jammy. I saw they had quite a lot of shots at goal and Tottenham not so many, right?
I don't know. I think we played pretty hard. I think we battled hard. I think it could have gone either way. There was possibilities at both ends. I mean, Burnley definitely held them back for the first half for a lot of it. And we came around with a pretty good goal, pretty good result. So happy with that.
Well,
Not happy with my transfer.
I was very disgruntled, to be honest with you, because I was expecting you to get more than one, and only one assist, one measly assist from Kane. Awful.
I know. I captained him as well. So
those two just keep linking up, don't they? Those two seem to go to sort of pairing.
Yeah, it's good to watch. To be excited when Bale's fit and ready to come on as well. That should be entertaining.
Yeah, I think, Captain, I said it a few times. No one really likes Spurs, so let's move on. Okay. And he's been waiting quietly in the wings behind the curtains, ladies and gents. We are privileged, I should say, to be joined by media mogul. It is Matty Lawless. Matt, how are you?
Well, hey. Yeah, it's great to be here, fellas. It really is. I've got to say, I've only come on because I heard Pellers was giving it some on the last podcast. And I wanted to set the record straight, really, about the wildcard controversy and all manner of things. But just going back to the Mikel Antonio goal at the weekend, you mentioned Pellers could have scored something like that. I've seen Milk turn quicker than him. No chance he'd score a goal like that. But no, great to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. Great to have you, mate. It's probably been about a whole season since you were last on, so really good to have you back on.
Yeah, this is the first appearance of the season. I've been waiting patiently on the bench, so it's great to get a run out this evening.
Fantastic. Good to have you, mate. And ladies and gents, then the agenda for today, we will quickly run through the NYC Brick Street Boys League. We'll talk to the lads, see how they got on this week. Then quickly run through the podcast league and also our podcast team. Patrick Vieira, you'll remember, was in charge of this week. He's shown his face, so hopefully that's good news. We'll review how that's done. We'll then have the one clock, one flop. Sean, the John McGinn fanboy, he'll be joining us for that. He's decided that he's only going to join for that from now on because he's too good for us. But we'll get to that later. And then we've got a nice rambling from the dugout, some questions that have come in on Twitter, and, of course, your captain contenders. So pretty jam-packed show, ladies and gents, and pundits. We'll have to get a move on. Before we jump into things, the first thing I wanted to mention, listeners, is if you're not already, please do subscribe to our podcast on Apple or Spotify, even Google, however you're listening. If you could subscribe, that would be great. And then you can get the update straight to your phone. You don't need to log in. And even more, if you're in a generous mood, if you wouldn't mind giving us a review, a 5-star review preferably, we've had a few people come in, and I saw a 2-star review, and it has to be fake because I might be biased, but someone's out there to get us, lads, and I've got a feeling it's coming.
It's those always cheating, lads.
I think it could be, mate. I saw the IP address, and it didn't sound realistic. So somewhere in Philadelphia, we don't have fans over there, I don't think. So it had to be them. Anyhow, all that said, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, would really appreciate it. And a review if you're feeling in a good mood would be great. Okay, boys, without further ado then, into the NYC Brick Street Boys League. Quick rundown for you. At the top is man of the match'em. He's got 370 points all in. Only 37 for the game week. So that's Rick's mate from the pub that he met down pub. No one else knows him, but he's top of the league. But a close second, Sean the John McGinn fanboy, 363 points. He came in with a 56 this game week. So, not a bad score at all, given the average was 48. So above average, what more can you ask for? Third position. He's risen from Thursday night Europa League spot into Champions League. It's Patrick Vieira.
Yes.
Vieira.
Mate.
Working.
Well, he's going on 62 for the week, 357.
62.
Lined in performance. We'll jump back in a minute and go into your team, but it's sitting in fourth. Ricky Pellegrini, you've slipped, mate, from second to fourth. Got to be a painful one. 353 all in, 46 points. Below you, Sausage Burner, he's got 349. Then below him, in sixth position, mounting a challenge for the top four, is none other than Matty Lawless. 77-point return, 343. Well, you've got to be pleased with that, Matt. We'll jump into your team for sure in a bit. Below you, you've dislodged myself. I'm sitting in seventh, a measly 45, only 331 for me this week, below average, as usual. Not very happy with that. I'm not happy at all, I have to admit. Son and Kane destroyed my week. Should have done more. Top of the clocks, it's NVD below me. You're in 8th NVD. You did momentarily have me. I was almost in 8th, mate, but I've gone above you thanks to Kane. So you're sitting there in 8th. You've got a total of 326, and then holding us all up, propping up the table, it's still Captain Russ. You're sitting there at 296 captain and 43 for the week. Joint lowest score for the week, you and NVD. So you are bottom. Perhaps only right we hear from you first then. Lowest point score, bottom of the table. What's gone wrong, Captain?
Really secured that place, haven't I now? It's been quite a few weeks.
That's yours, mate, yeah.
I don't know. I got Kane in last weekend, which I was glad to do, and captained him straight away. Usual mistakes. I mean, like I got Grealish in a couple of weeks ago. He hasn't really paid off at all. I got rid of Zaha in the process, and he's been scoring leaps and bounds the last couple of weeks. So I'm kind of regretting that little move. And I had Digne, so he obviously got -2.
Yeah, what did you lads think of that challenge? Was it a red?
I don't know if it was a red. It was an idiotic foul, I thought, but he shouldn't have done it in the first place. So he kind of deserves it. It should have been a yellow, I reckon.
Yeah, it did stamp on the back. I mean, he ran onto his foot, so I can see where he's coming from, but it could have been.
I think he knew what he was doing. I think he was a bit naughty. 2 yellows, really, wasn't it? If you're looking at both.
Yeah.
So another one, the strange one. He's not looking at the screen again, it's there for a reason, but they're not using it. But I think it was one of those 6 and 2 frees.
Captain, you also mentioned there Grealish, and lads, obviously Aston Villa lost, didn't they? They got done 3-0. Are Villa's wheels falling off, or was that just the blip?
He got a yellow card as well, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, he did. He only got a point.
I thought Villa looked good. I thought Grealish looked brilliant, to be honest. Obviously, I know those 3 goals. They were fantastic goals, weren't they, by Bamford? What a hat-trick. And he's put himself, right. We were sort of doubting him. We were saying him or Ollie Watkins in that price range, both about 5.96 million sort of price range. And Bamford, what a legend.
I mean, obviously I had hat-trick Bamford in my side, and I've kept him in all season. Bielsa's been so patient, and a lot of people felt that when Rodrigo was signed that Bamford would be the one to make way, but actually Bielsa's really kind of backed Bamford, and he was sort of rewarded, I guess, for that show of faith and fantastic hat-trick. I mean, he's 6'2", he can score goals. He does miss a lot of opportunities, but he's the type of player that, as you saw with the finishing, and there was some sensational goals, really. He's a player that, if it's provided to him, he can definitely put them away. So I do think he's a bit of a bargain, I think he's one of those sort of strikers that is worth keeping in and around the team, because there's always those players that, they might not be in the top 6 clubs, but certainly they're going to score goals this season. He's definitely one of them.
They look like they're going to create a lot of chances as well, don't they, Matt?
They're always looking to attack. I think the thing with Leeds is, like, I tipped them to be, the surprise package this season. I know everybody's the surprise package so far, but for me, they will sustain that. But they'll get a point where Bielsa just runs them ragged, and by about sort of March, April, they will start to fall away a bit. But I think top 10 for sure. They could easily finish this season, but it's up for grabs, as the old saying goes.
I'm very pleased to hear you bigging up Bamford, because I wrote him off last week and said that he'd had his time. He's not good enough for the Premier League. I'm going to eat the words, humbly eat my Bamford pie. Brilliant performance. 2 brilliant goals. Sean John McGinn fanboy did, back him. I think the second and third goal were unreal. Like, that second goal for me was the best, but the third was also high class, and I hadn't seen him do that.
Accuracy, right?
Yeah, I've seen him try that before and not quite make it, so maybe this is his time. So maybe I'll do a little bit of a 180 there at the moment and say he could be good. What I did call out from Leeds is their defence, and their defence is very good, right? They do defend in numbers, and they are the most hard-working team in the league. So we rightfully called out their defence last week, and I think maybe Villa came up against a team on the rebound, and maybe Villa have had a good start. Now they've got found out, and maybe it's downhill from Villa for here. Do you know what? That's too quick to write anyone off all season, isn't
it? Yeah, definitely. I mean, Villa had a massive purple patch to begin the season with, and it was a throwback to the old days with them at the top with Everton. For Villa, they'll be over the moon that they've got 12 points on the board, because the magic number for them will be 40 points. If they can do that, they stay up. That will be their target from the beginning of the season. But don't forget, they've invested massively in the summer. So, there'll be a lot of pressure on Dean Smith to deliver. It's not just about staying up. And I think that actually maybe made a rod for his own back, particularly with that win over Liverpool. But, losing to Leeds, I don't think it's a disgrace, really. I think for them, it's probably what should have happened, and they have overachieved so far. But listen, it's going to be one of those seasons where I think we'll see teams like Villa beat Liverpool's, and then they'll go and lose to, West Ham or someone like that. It's going to be tipsy-turvy all year, I think.
And talking of Villa beating Liverpool 7-2, that was NVD. That sparked you to get Grealish into your team.
I don't remember it, to be honest. I've forgotten about that game already.
Wiped it
but yeah, I mean, look, I think I had Grealish in my team for a while last season, and he definitely recouped points, and then fell off, especially when they were struggling, and before I think the resurgence after the leagues restarted. But yeah, I mean, I think like Captain said, he played well, but just it wasn't Leeds' day, and I think also people were just shocked that they people were thinking that they keep a clean sheet, and hence why I had Martinez in goal, even though I think kind of McCarthy's had a good start to the season, and he's scored decently in 3 out of the 6 game weeks, but kept him on the bench, so obviously lost points there. But it was just a bit of a weird game week, really. I mean, I think Robertson should have got a cleanie, because I don't think that Sheffield United's goal was a penalty. It was clearly outside of the box. Was it? Clearly outside of the box. I think it was a great challenge. I mean, sloppy to start with from Fabinho, but great challenge, and just VAR absolutely just shocking again. And
so unfortunately, got that wrong though. How? I can't understand this.
He got part of the ball, didn't he? He got part of the ball.
Not only part of the ball, it was still. I mean, it was blatantly outside the box as well.
Yeah.
It was just it was a weird one. I mean, how can you not see
the man a little bit as well after he took on the ball, so I can see it was a foul. It was a little bit of a rash dive in for the ball. But
I agree. I mean, he gave it away, but it was just I mean, that's a free kick at best. But look, at the end of the day, good result. Apart from obviously all the FPL managers that back Salah, he was the most captain this game week. And
unlucky, wasn't he? Unlucky. What a finish in his disallowed goal.
Yeah, I mean, look, returned a measly 2 points. Obviously 4 if you captained him, like most people did. But yeah, it was just unlucky. Yeah, hit the post and, disallowed goal. Could have been oh so different. And I think that's where, a lot of people I think half our league backed Salah and the rest back Kane, apart from yourself, Matt, who backed Son. But yeah, I think kind of just, look, if your midfield in your front 2 or 3 fall apart, you're never going to score, either close to the average or above the average. And I think that was pretty much the tail of my game week. So, like we said, I have one good game week, and then that's it. It goes back to obscurity.
Back to norm.
Let's hope so.
Fair play, NVD. Thanks for running through that. And you did mention sort of Robertson being unlucky not to get the cleanie. It was clean sheet woes for me, unfortunately, lads, as well. I came in with a 45, 2 more than you, NVD, but sat obviously in 7th. And I was very disappointed when Patrick Vieira's Fulham scored in the 95th minute, because that was just like, they were awful the whole game. That said, they did hit the but he's hit a worldie from outside the box and no one was closing him down. And I was literally doing my stretches. I was exercising, looking up, watching the TV there. And I was just like, close him down. I just saw it fly in. I was like, there's Mitchell's clean sheet gone. I was absolutely disappointed in that. I felt robbed by Kyle Walker-Peters' clean sheet because I left him on the bench and I went for Rodriguez over him. And I had switched it before the game, hearing that Rodriguez was injured. Then I went to our trusty Twitter followers and saw someone mention they thought that Ancelotti was just, pulling a bit of a...
Jose Mourinho.
Pulling a Jose. So I put him back in and he did nothing. So a little bit disappointing there. But NVD, I think to your point of it being a little bit of a strange week, most of my players were coming away with 1s and 2s. And that's just disappointing, especially when I packed the midfield there. And I don't feel like my midfield's too bad, like with Harvey Barnes, Pulisic, Son, Rodriguez and Salah. I'm expecting more than 2s and 1s from them lot. And it was only Son with an 11 and Kane with a 10. And then Meslier from Leeds with the 7 that got me out of jail and kept me above you. So, I'll take it. I did have Bamford in my team last week, by the way, and I had James Ward-Prowse and I played the Wildy. So no patience. I think that's my problem still, but... There you go. Not a great week. Still sitting in 7th. Anyhow, you've heard of all of the woes, listeners. Let's get into someone who did have a good week. He's smiling. He's happy. He's showed his face. 6th position, 77 points, 343 in total. I mean, 110,000th best in the game week, Matt. You've got to be very happy with that. Take us through it, mate.
Yeah, I mean, look, I need to clear up the whole wild card issue from the past week where, I was listening to the podcast and I heard the mention of my name. I think it was from Pellers. Yes, I did get it wrong. I meant to use my wild card last week and actually subbed 7 players and cost myself 24 points, and kept the team as it was. But I thought I'd take a gamble with the old bench boost, just because I was umming and ahhing over the 2 goalkeepers, actually. I had Ederson and Martinez. Martinez has been really good. I felt that at home they might, not leak 3 goals against Leeds. But so that was kind of really the reason why I did it. And I think that helped this week. Kyle Walker-Peters was on my bench. Dallas was on the bench, and both of them got, clean sheets. But yeah, Bamford up front, fantastic. 17 points, I think he got for me. And then I stuck with the kind of Kane and Son combination. There's a stat today, actually, that they've scored 29 goals and assists together. And that's the second highest in Premier League history, behind Drogba and Lampard, who've got 36 goals and assists. So it just goes to show that I think it's worth sticking with those 2 throughout the season, but it might be worth just alternating who's the skipper, really. But the only one that did backfire on me was Gareth Bale, who, of course, didn't come on. So, yeah, look, this is a great week for me. And, I think he's still, from what I've been told, he's still kind of being eased into things because Spurs have got this kind of tricky kind of fixture list to navigate at the moment where they're playing, they played tonight and they play again on Thursday in Belgium, then they play again the following Sunday. So I think Jose's just trying to use him in the Europa at the moment, and then get him up to sort of match fitness by Christmas time, really, because he hasn't played a lot of football at all. But I do think that I think I'll take him out, but I think he's going to be a player that I'll definitely bring back into the team, in the new year anyway. But for now, I think it looks like he's going to stick to the Europa League squad for now with Dele Alli, who's another player who's not really getting a look in. So
I think you should keep Bale.
But no, 77 points. I've got to say, this league is very much like the Premier League this year, where I look at it and I think it could be won by anybody. It really could. I think all it takes is a good triple captain week. Things could turn around, really. I've already used mine, so...
Except for a captain, he's not doing.
Yeah.
Too far down.
Just another dig at captain.
Sorry, captain.
Don't worry.
From you.
At least Tottenham are doing well, though, eh, captain?
Exactly. Swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
You bring up a good point, though, because me and Jimmy, we was on a Fan Focus podcast, one of the top FPL players, FPL Salah, we were talking about this. Sometimes it is worth taking a massive gamble. Even though you didn't need to do the wild card, that was a gamble, and so was the bench boost, but it's paid off. So sometimes, taking a couple of hits to get in a few players when it's worth it, and we're on, Kane and Son, getting them in your team, sometimes it does pay off.
I agree, and I think when you look at the fixture list, it's easy to kind of look at fixture ratings and go, look, like, for example, Liverpool, Sheffield United. On paper, you think, it's going to rain goals for Salah and Mane, but in reality, it's 2-1 win. So sometimes, it really is horses for courses, and sometimes you've got to look at those lower games, really, where, like Leeds Villa, you think, well, there could be goals in this game. And at the minute, without fans in stadiums in the UK, we're getting a lot of goals. I think this weekend was probably one of the...
Dried up.
More of it, dried up this week, really. And Man United, Chelsea, Jesus. Let's not even talk about that game. Let's just forget it ever happened.
Don't worry, Jimmy, you'll cover that one.
But it just goes to show you that sometimes, like I say, there's players out there who could be some real value to be had. They're not the 13 million players like Aguero. I think he'd be one of the worst in the game. Just got injured again. But in years gone by, you would have backed him or Sterling to have scored a hatful against West Ham,
I took a hit to get Aguero in because I was just, I was thinking Man City, they always score 3 or 4 against West Ham, but then I wasn't really going with the form that West Ham are in at the moment. And then Aguero comes off, half time after 45 minutes, pretty much.
Yeah. But then Foden, you mentioned Foden last week on the podcast, and it was between him and Harvey Barnes, but Foden definitely rewarded those who picked him.
Yeah. I've got a question for you, mate, quickly before we move on into Pella's team about Aguero there. So understand, you're either a triple captain or a bench boost, a wild card away from getting back, and sometimes it's worth taking a risk. You've taken all of those risks and you're only sitting in 6th position. Are you concerned that you've done yourself out there?
I haven't taken my wild card risk yet. That is, that's...
Oh, yes, you still got it.
He's got that in his back pocket.
Well, to be honest, mate, I've got to say, yes, I do think it's worthwhile because the way I started this season was so bad, and to be in 6th place actually is not bad at all. I think if you look at the first two or 3 weeks, I was not getting a decent return at all, but certainly in the last few weeks, I think I've taken a bit of inspiration from my beloved Hammers, and certainly putting some points on the board. So 6th place is not bad in this league, I'd say.
To be honest, I thought the first couple of weeks you'd gone on holiday or something because
I think I was away.
I like how you say you take an inspiration from the Hammers, and you've just boycotted having any West Ham players because that was your downfall last year.
Yeah, well, definitely, yeah.
I never get West Ham players in. You can't ever trust West Ham, even though they're doing well. I still never like getting my own players in, but that might change in a couple of weeks after the Liverpool game. We've got a good run of fixtures, so
yeah, no, potentially, and you've dealt with this very difficult run very well. But there you go. That's Matty Lawless's team, ladies and gents. 77 points. Took in 16 from the bench boost. I will be keeping mine for a double game week, so watch out for that. Hellers, jumping into you. You're actually next in the table, which is a rarity that we see you this low down. You're sitting in 4th, mate. What's happened to your team this week?
Yeah, I'll start with the Aguero shout because I've done myself right in because I took a 4-point hit because I did a second transfer because I just weren't happy with Mahrez. I wanted to get Mahrez out. I just wasn't convinced he was going to do anything, even though it was against West Ham. Took a hit, got Aguero in for Callum Wilson. Of course, Callum Wilson gets 5 points. Aguero comes off after 45 minutes, gets 1 point. So I actually lost 8 points. Silly mistake. That basically is the downfall. The rest of the team, not too bad, to be fair. Considering the last couple of weeks, I've had a bit of an awful run. Yeah, just lucky, I suppose. Jimenez got 3 bonus points. He was probably the best player on the pitch. Ollie Watkins, that's a tricky one because I was doing a poll on Twitter a couple of weeks ago saying Ollie Watkins or Bamford, and obviously that's come back to haunt me because I was pushing Ollie Watkins after that hat-trick. I was like, he's the real deal, he's going to do it. And he did look good, that one game. Will I just swap him out for Bamford? I'm not sure.
The pork pies are turning on you, Rick. I've heard that they're not happy and they feel that you've taken the team as far as you possibly can.
That's it. The dressing room's gone against me. Even Aguero had the
I heard you had a brief visit to position 5 as well. Ricky in 5th position.
That's why I'm called the pork pies, mate. That's why I'm called the pork pies. That's what you get when you go down to 5th. Pack of pork pies from Tesco's.
And Europa League.
Europa League, Thursday night.
Thursday night, yeah. It's all right. West Ham fans don't know about Europa League.
At least my team overachieving. Yours is just
we're above United right now. So,
fair enough. We won't. Let's move on, shall we? There's one thing I wanted to ask, and this is a question that has come in on Twitter. You've got Jimenez in your squad, and Adam Gollier, he said, should he keep Jimenez? What's your feeling on Jimenez, seeing as you've got him?
Well, certain players in FPL the last few seasons you could just bank on, even if they don't have the best of starts. I mean, Jimenez did, if someone's going to score for Wolves, it's most likely going to be Jimenez, right? And Wolves are looking good. They don't score a ton of goals. You very rarely see Wolves get 3 or 4. But they're consistent, and Jimenez is consistent, right? At the end of this season, even though it's been so unpredictable, Jimenez is going to be in the top 5 strikers in the league, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, even though at that price range, I think he's worth it.
I think I can understand why Adam's asking, though, because they've got Palace, Leicester, Southampton, Arsenal, Liverpool, next 5 games. Some pretty tough ones there, really. But,
he's on penalties as well, isn't he?
Yeah. So you're saying if anyone's going to score for Wolves, it's going to be Jimenez. Takes the penalties, you wouldn't remove him even with those 5 tough games?
No, I personally wouldn't, no.
Okay. I got rid of him. I got rid of him this week and put in Kane, but that, even though Kane, did all right, it's still I think Jimenez got more points, so... Yeah,
he scored a really good goal this week, Jimenez, and I think the fact he can just do things like that out of nothing, like the way he just flipped it up and volleyed it in, it was just wonderful, really great goal. So there you go then. Okay, Pellers, thank you for running through your team. And he's waited in patience because he's flown up the league, and we usually go from top to bottom. And it usually, whilst you're near the bottom, you usually have to wait Vieira. So I've made you wait again because we're going the other way. But you have flown up the table, mate. You are now sitting in 3rd position.
I know, it's unbelievable, right?
You are literally, after COVID, you've literally come back who's been the best? Villa?
Like Mikel Antonio.
Yeah, you're more like Mikel Antonio than Patrick Vieira.
It's just a lucky week, really, to be honest. I'm happy with my team, and I want to get out Townsend, but I'm not sure who to bring in. And so I was I'm in an iron for a little bit, and I thought I'll just leave it. And so I just left it. And it was Bamford, really. We've already talked about it, but he's the one that, really gave me a load of points. And, Chilwell, who I'm a big fan of, you got Cleany and bad captain pick. Most people picked Salah, but no, I didn't get, only got 4 points there. But yeah, just pretty solid points for most of my players, and Bamford just really, giving me that boost. But, it's still real close up there. It's good. It is a good lead, like Matty was saying. It's apart from captain, the top 8's pretty close. Yeah, it was Bamford. Bamford's the man.
Fantastic. Well done, Patrick Vieira. I am, for one, very pleased to see you up there above Pellers. Lovely stuff. So moving on to our LeftBack FPL podcast league. Ladies and gents, as I mentioned earlier, Patrick Vieira took control of our team this week. And Patrick, 40 points for the week. What's happened, mate?
Well, I was dealt a pretty, bad hand. from the previous manager. But really, I didn't do anything. I picked the wrong captain. You know, it was either going to be Salah or Kane. I went for Salah. I was going to pick Kane, but everyone else started saying Salah. You lot said Salah. So then I succumbed to peer pressure and picked Salah. I got rid of, Neto, and brought in McGinn because I thought Villa would do some damage this weekend. Obviously, they didn't do anything. But yeah, the rest of the team is the same. So yeah, it didn't do particularly well.
Yeah, I mean, 2 points from Neto this week. And in terms of John McGinn, I think he returned the same amount, did he? 2 points.
Yeah.
Okay,
And,
so it didn't matter what you did.
And Bellerin, who I said I was going to get rid of, he only got 1. But I kept him in, though, for you.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah. I know you benched him, though. He was the 3rd sub, I noticed. You weren't trusting him. But did anyone see that Leicester-Arsenal game? He had a couple of chances, Bellerin. He could have scored, actually.
He did. Yeah, he was pretty close. And then it's weird watching these games because I sort of watch them to enjoy them, but then I'm always thinking in back of my mind, oh, no, I hope that guy doesn't score, or I hope this one, saves this penalty or whatever. All because I don't want to lose points, or I want
that's the beauty of FPL.
To lose points. Yeah.
It makes every game interesting, doesn't it?
And the games too, that there's one after each other. My anxiety level's like through the roof because having to wait for the next game to come on to see whether I get any points or not.
I do notice you going a bit grey, Vieira.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure I can survive.
He's losing sleep,
getting frail.
Tough season already.
Patrick, would you rather Fulham survived or you won the LeftBack FPL league?
Fulham survived.
Okay, that's good. It's got its priorities right. Well done.
Yeah. Keep believing.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening there, but still early days. But yeah, definitely wants Fulham to survive.
No problem then. So 40 points for our LeftBack FPL podcast team. Not the best after an 82 from last week, but well above what NVD recorded with 29 points in game week 4. So
I blame the
you've got to be happy with that.
Right.
Guys, that does put us 22nd in our own league for that team. Out of 57 people, we're in 22nd position. Sean, the John McGinn fanboy is the highest. You're second highest. Sean's in 10th position. At the top of the table, though, FPL God. He is top, 70 points from FPL God, 398 points. Contrary to belief, that's not my second team, guys, FPL God. But well done to that man. Dynasty sitting in second position. Young Joe Watson in second position with Dynasty. Great question that came in from him actually this week. And I wanted to call it out. He sent us a message on Twitter asking for everyone's opinion here. And his question is, what's your opinion of Cavani? When he came on, he looked good and was only really stopped by Thiago Silva. I'm considering Jimenez to Cavani. If I knew he would start every week, I think I'd prefer him over most strikers. We already spoke about Jimenez, Ricky Pellegrini, being the one to keep. But what do you think in that, Cavani?
You're the United fan, right? Jim, do you think he's really going to start? That's the thing with Cavani. Is he going to start? Is he... I'm sure if he starts banging in the goals, maybe he offers something different, right, for United. But
well, yeah, that's obviously the question. I mean, we got Arsenal next, then we got Everton, then West Brom. So the next 3 aren't necessarily that simple or straightforward. The way United are playing as well, it don't look that fluid enough. But, I mean... The thing is, because we're not playing that well, maybe he's going to give Cavani a chance because no one else is really doing it at the moment for United up top. And I could see Rashford moving to the left wing again, Fernandes feeding some balls into Cavani. He did look very sharp when he came on. Personally, I would not go Jimenez to Cavani. If I had someone else, like, I don't know, I'd be more tempted to say more pay and find the extra money and get Cavani. I wouldn't go Jimenez to Cavani personally. What about everyone else? NVD, would you go Jimenez to Cavani, yes or no?
Emphatically no.
Is that because you're a Liverpool fan and you detest Man United?
There's a tinge of that, but no, it doesn't make sense, really. I mean, look, Cavani, even though he looked sharp when he came on, I'm sure he's still trying to get match fitness as well, get into the system of play. And so I think that's going to have its toll. And for $500,000 difference, you're going to get someone who's a proven FPL forward. So, no.
Yeah, great point. So that's 2 no's there. Joe, Matt Lawless, what would you say?
Yeah, completely agree with that. I think that's Cavani's certainly one to keep an eye on. He gives Man United a plan B, if you like, and he is an aerial threat. He'll be a problem for defenders in the box. I think his first touch, he nearly flicked it in against Chelsea. And Mendy, the keeper, was superb, by the way. I've got to say that. In a poor game, he was very good, even though he did nearly score an own goal. But in terms of the question, Cavani, I'd say be patient. Look at him around Christmas time.
Yeah. Captain Patrick Vieira, Ricky, you all seem to be nodding. I think that's consensus. You'd all agree.
Yeah. Jimenez, I think he's definitely one to keep on the radar, but I would definitely stick with Jimenez. He, as said before, he's always going to score goals. He's always consistent. You can always rely on him. So I would stick with him.
Excellent stuff. Okay, guys. So Joe, there you go. We do not recommend that transfer for you. I can see where you're coming from, but I think like Matt and some of the pundits said, give him a few more games, a few more weeks, keep your eye on him. If he's still doing it, then I'd be bringing him in, but not quite yet. That said, you're in second. Third is as it was in our league. Woody's Wonders, he's sitting in third, 51 from the game week, a total of 384 for Woody's Wonders. So that's the top three in the LeftBack FPL Poddy League. Turning our attention to the bottom. Still got Salad Cream at the bottom, but let's remember Salad Cream, he's only had 3 game weeks, brought in 53 points this week. So he's catching Mandem FC, who got 227 in total with a 37 this week. And then Matt Reynolds, we called him out last week, name and shamed him, unfortunately, for the lowest point score in the league. He's not done too badly this week, improvement on last week, so 232 points, sitting in 45th in the league at the moment. So with that said, guys, it is time, however, to name and shame this week from the Poddy team. The lowest score, we've got a joint lowest here this week. 2 people bringing in 28 points. Caleb, one of our fans who I see messaging us quite often on Twitter, you're going to have to listen a little bit more in depth, mate, because you're obviously getting it wrong. It must be Ricky's Essex accent, Pellers' accent you can't detect. But Pellers also with the bottom lowest score was your cousin, mate. So we've had Ryan Woods with a 28 as well.
There's a lot of Woods in this league. Yeah, Chris Woods, Woody's Wonders. At least Chris Wood from Burnley, he's doing well. So
he's flying the flag high, isn't he? So there you go then, everyone. That's the podcast league. Thank you.
If you'd like to join the league, the code is 06S7S8. So 06S7S8 if you'd like to get involved with our league.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, fellas. Please do get involved. We love to have your support and just your involvement. It's great fun. And obviously, you do well, you get a few call-outs. If you do badly, you get named and shamed. What's not to like about it? Okay, and before we move into half-time, he's arrived. He's finally here. It is Sean, the John McGinn fanboy. Sean, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, yeah. Sorry for the tardiness. That's 2 weeks in a row. Sorry, coach. I'm doing a couple extra laps after training.
Yellow card.
Yellow card.
I've just looked at VAR. We've upgraded it to a red. If you do that again, sin bin. Anyhow, Sean, your team did all right this week. You're up to second. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, not bad. It was a slow start. I think that was everyone, but in the end, it came good.
And 7 points away.
Michael was kind of a differentiator. I know, climbing up the leaderboard and up to the top 500,000 in the world. So, get in there in the right direction. It's slowly but steadily. It's just consistency week over week. No big scores, but getting up there.
Slow and steady wins the race, apparently, is what Patrick told us. And that's what you tell the kids that are quite slow at school.
Isn't that what he's told Fulham as well? Is that what they're playing at the moment?
I hope so. I hope that's what they're doing.
So, Sean, take us into the one clot, one flop, if you would, mate.
Yeah, I think this week we have a special guest on the show, right? We've been joined by none other than Matty Lawless, and I think his move last week to play his wild card, but not really play his wild card, and take a 24 hit point hit, and play his triple captain, and this week then to play his bench boost and to get a massive 77 points this week, where, the average in our league was 50 and he's up there with 77. I think that's an inspired move, and especially over the last 2 weeks to go from basically bottom to 6th and not that far away from top. Matty, it's a great performance.
No, thank you.
Of the week.
No, it's an honour, and I've got to say, there was a real inquest held at Lawless FC Towers. Why didn't we pick a team name? We didn't know how to do that. Then it emerged that we didn't know how to save on a wild card. So all in all, we're kind of learning as we go along, but it's a steady season so far, and one that I'm really optimistic about now. And yeah, hopefully I'll be Club of the Week again.
And can you do us a quick favour, Matt? I don't think you've really explained it enough. What happened with the wild card? How did you fail to save it, and what spurred you on to then do the triple captain, and how did you feel after everything?
I feel the triple captain decision was really kind of, right, I've buggered up here and I've lost 24 points, so it's kind of all or nothing really, and it was trying to save myself, and it worked. Also, I mean, I felt that West Ham were due a defeat, and I felt that Tottenham were going to be the side that did that. But listen, I was delighted because Kane scored 2, set one up, and then West Ham got a last-minute equaliser. So it was a brilliant day. One that me and Pellers will be telling our grandchildren about for many, many years. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened, really. Pure stupidity, reckless decision, reckless management. But sometimes you've got to take a risk in management. And, I feel that just whatever I'm saying now, just disregard it. It's 2 a.m. here and I'm chatting nonsense. Yeah, I got away with it. Let's just say that.
It's nice that you and Pellers will remember that game week for all the right reasons, because we'll all remember it for the time you forgot to click the save on the wild card.
Yeah. Well, we'll omit that part from the story, don't worry.
Well, one way you can claw that back is don't take any free hits, don't take any minus bonus points for the rest of the season, and you actually claw those 24 points back.
Well, like I say, if he didn't take those hits, then he wouldn't have had those players in his team. So sometimes, like we were saying before, it's sometimes worth taking a hit every now and then.
Yeah, sometimes you do. You need to speculate to accumulate.
And exactly. You certainly did. Sean, what's your flop of the week, mate?
Yeah, going on the other side and the not so good of the week, I'm actually just going to give it to a game that I think was completely rank and disappointing. Man U Chelsea. What happened there, right? But I think both sides, I don't think anyone really covered himself in glory. There wasn't much opportunity. I don't know what. Wiener definitely wasn't. I don't know, maybe he was playing with his wiener again. Don't know there. And Fernandes didn't really do anything. For fantasy managers, unless you had defenders in this game, you were really picking up no points. And that's disappointing for what should have been a cracker.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game, was it? I think neither team really wanted to lose. Yeah, not much more we can say about it. But if I had to be biased, I'd say Man United deserved it.
I'm sure you've already went on about it for half an hour before I joined. Right? Sorry for bringing it up again.
I'm quite surprised he hasn't spoke about Man United much.
There's not really much to say,
to hear it.
I'd say the only thing to say about that game is Mendy, the goalkeeper, because he could be a bit of a bargain this season. I think he's shown already with Chelsea that you could see the defenders had a lot more confidence in him. And the same with Thiago Silva. I mean, he's another player that I think he'll keep a few clean sheets this season and maybe score the odd goal or two from set piece. So those are the two players I think if you're looking for positives out of the worst game of the season so far, that would be it for me.
Yeah, Chelsea really were shocking. They came along, they set up to defend. United just didn't have a chance, but there we go. That's my bias.
So the good news for a captain is he just scraped to avoid the flop for another week.
Blushes have been saved by United and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go then, guys. We're going to head into the half-time break. A chance for you all to get your oranges and freshen up. If you don't already follow us on Twitter, please do, at LeftBack FPL. I'm going to go and watch the 99 rerun of the Champions League final. A couple of goals from United in that one. We'll be back in the second half.
Hey.
Welcome to part 2 of LeftBack FPL.
Hey.
It's the favourite part. One thing that I just want to bring your attention to is the LeftBack FPL website, leftbackfpl.com. Please do have a little visit. We will see James Shearman's blog posts on there. So James Reese's Pieces, our intern, he does a weekly blog post up there with previews and score predictions. So please do have a look at that. James Sherman, he was top, guys. He was above all of us pundits in the LeftBack podcast league last week, and I forgot to call it out this week. He's no longer above us. 3 of you have risen. The cream has risen to the top. Sean, the John McGinn fanboy, Patrick Vieira, and Ricky Pellegrini. You're all above James Sherman now. Sorry, Shermy. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Oh, that's the phone, lads. We got a ramble.
Who is it, mate?
On the dugout.
Rambolino.
It is me, Borat.
Borat. Hello, mate.
Is this the right number for FPL Fantasy?
LeftBack FPL. Yes, you've got the right number, Borat.
I thought you only had a fax
Fantastic.
machine. I didn't know you had a phone. Thought it was just fact.
I'm in the United States and America. Speak to you guys. I've been listening to your podcast. Are you called the Puddy?
The Poddy, yes. We're honoured that you've dialed in, Borat. We thought you'd be promoting the new film.
Don't worry. It is nice about this. I just wanted to speak to you, Jimmy Ferguson. You're United.
United, yeah. Are you a fan, Borat?
Yes, Kazakhstan, my native country. I love them, but they don't play in the Premier League.
No, they don't. Have they got? Is there a fantasy Premier League in Kazakhstan?
No, it is illegal. They were executed.
Okay, well, we best not do that. But you're obviously playing fantasy Premier League then, Borat, and I presume you must have a question unless you've called the wrong number.
I do. I have a question for you, Jimmy Ferguson. With Everton not playing so well, we have a Genia. He had a red card at the weekend. I saw that. James Rodriguez missing out. Is it time to move away from DCL? He scored so many goals.
Time to move away from DCL. I guess Richarlison's also out as well, right? So interesting.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Borat, thank you. Let me take that to the pundits for you, and we'll come back to you with an answer, lads. I'm honoured that we just had Borat on the phone. That's brilliant. So, guys, basically, he's saying Richarlison's out. Dinia's got the red, so he's going to be out for a few games. And Rodriguez is potentially injured this weekend, it looks like. So is it time to move away from DCL, presuming he's not getting that service?
I thought he was talking about DHL. Do you know what? I think it's a great question from a very ludicrous character there. Yeah, look, I do think that maybe it is. I think they're going to be key blows for Everton, those players being missing. And it might be just the right time to give DCL a break. You feel like he'll score goals, but he needs the service. So, it's going to be interesting to see, because Iwobi clearly wasn't providing it, was he? On Sunday, he was hooked after 45 minutes. So, yeah, definitely. I think Bernard come on, he wasn't great. I think if you're going to be completely ruthless, you take him out of your team.
The one thing is, though, looking at their fixtures, they have the 5 easiest games they could probably play coming up. They've got a Newcastle first of all, then they've got Man United, so pretty much a gimme. Then they've got Fulham, Leeds, and Burnley. Yeah. So those teams, tasty if they had continued their goal scoring exploits. You definitely fancy him to get a couple of at least braces, I would say, against those 5 teams.
I just think without Richarlison, he's not as good. I think Richarlison is a bit of an underdog in that team. I think without him in the team, I think he had to run out sooner or later. I'm just still not convinced. He's obviously a good striker. He's obviously got an England team as well, well deserved. But I'm not convinced he's going to do it all season for DCL, and he hasn't the last few seasons. Maybe it is his season this season, but yeah, I'm not convinced.
And Richarlison's suspended until the 21st of November. Why has he been suspended for so long?
Horrible challenge. Deserved it. Yeah, not sure if there's a break.
That's like 3 games, is it?
Yeah.
It's worth noting as well, Dig needs is also a 3-match ban, but Everton are planning on appealing it. So we'll know by the weekend, whether that will be successful or not.
Yeah. So I mean, NVD, Sean John McGinn fanboy thinks that DCL will still get on the list. Pellers has said they're without the service, perhaps not. What do you think?
Yeah, I've been on an R, to be honest, because I was trying to look at which of the forwards you could get in. So Calvert-Lewin is 7.7 million. I mean, you've got the likes of Bamford, who we all know spoken about his exploits this weekend, and maybe someone like Wilson, at Newcastle, who's just been like steadily getting points, not anything that's been amazing, but naturally has amassed a total of 41, and Calvert-Lewin's got 44. So I think we've spoken about how, packing the midfield, you could pretty much kind of maybe offset some of your, Calvert-Lewin 7.7 and get in a more premium midfielder. I think I'd probably do that if you had the free transfers available for the next 2 game weeks. But I do agree with Sean John McGinn fanboy. I think those potential easy fixtures come game weeks 9 to 11, you might want to then think about kind of getting him back in.
I think you've also got the Everton's new summer signing, right? He's ready to sort of step in, in Cuckoo. Is that how you say it? He's impressed for two of the League Cup games for Everton, I believe. So, he could actually slot in, get up and down that flank and provide some service. So, don't write Everton off.
I think, not writing Everton off too much, but I do think DCL needs that service. He's not the sort of guy that I see that picks the ball up and runs past 2 or 3 and then scores a worldie. He does thrive on nice balls into the box. He scores most of them, his goals from inside the box. So
I guess it depends also on James Rodriguez's injury, right? He might have been playing with a bit of a knock on the weekend, and he didn't really do anything spectacular. But I mean, if he's recovering in time for, let's say, next game, or if he's only out, let's say, 1 game week, then he's often the assist of the assisters, but he could be there to still kind of provide DCL that service if he returns from injury quicker.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Okay, finally, Patrick Vieira, just filling over to you. What do you think?
Well, I have him. I have him in my team, and I'm going to keep him. He's. It's been 1 game that they haven't provided the service. They didn't get any goals against Southampton. So I think for me, it's too early to tell whether he's not going to get that service. So I'm certainly going to keep him in my team and keep him as a forward because I think it's just too early to tell to make that call. So if you have him, I'd keep him.
Okay. So Patrick Vieira is saying to keep him there. Let's do a very quick stick or twist. I personally would twist because I do feel that although you say there's a few easy games coming up, I think the Fulham game's easy, but Leeds and Burnley for me are both almost turning a corner and they're defending okay. I don't really see too many chances there. So I would twist. Fellas, stick or twist?
Yeah, I haven't had him in my team all season actually. I thought it was just a purple patch he was going for. I've never been convinced he's got the goods to do it the whole season to bag 20 goals a season. I would definitely get rid.
Okay, so there's 2 of us that think get rid. 1 says keep. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I've got him in my side actually, and I'm going to twist.
3 of us getting rid. 1 keeping him. Sean John McGinn fanboy.
Triple captain.
That doesn't give you 3 votes. That's 3 to 2. NVD.
Yeah, I've got him in my team as well. I'm sure it may change, but I'm going to stick.
You're going to stick? So we're divided. Borat.
You know what? We're going to have to go to our Twitter page. We're going to have a poll.
I love the Twitter, the tweety. Your NYC Bridge Street Boys, I want to be in there. I notice you do not have me in there yet, so please let me in. Thank you, and please.
Borat, unfortunately, that's only for the pundits, so I won't be able to let you in there.
Oh, no. Why not? Jimmy Ferg, I love you.
Oh, I tell you what, I might be able to get you in there. We have a chat after the poddy, mate.
Thank you very much. I speak to you soon.
But Borat, before you leave, I wanted to just tell you it's free in terms of the votes on here. We're going to put a poll out on Twitter. We're going to get you an answer, okay?
Lovely jubbly, as Pella says. Bye-bye.
Bye, Borat. Take it easy,
Bye,
mate.
Borat. Cheers, Borat.
What a guy.
Lovely jubbly, as Pellers say.
Awesome. What an individual.
Famous, mate. He's quoting you.
Like Only Fools and Horses, isn't it?
Oh, what a nice man.
Fantastic then. It's that time of the show, everyone. We're going to get into the Game Week 7 previews. Where's the value? Who are the players to have, the tips, the tricks, where you're going to get the points from this week. And the first game of the week is Wolves versus Crystal Palace. Sean John McGinn fanboy, you've been looking at this for us. What's the score? Where are the points? Where's the assists? Who's going to bring it in for us in this game?
So there's one player in this team who I don't have in my team, but I don't know why. I just think that he's very impressive. And well, I do know why. He's been on fire the last 2 weeks, scoring both weeks. I think Jimenez up front for Wolves. I think just the power and his ability to shoot from anywhere. I think he's definitely going to be on to get a few more goals this season, just a few more. But I think there's actually value in him. The difficult thing is he's quite expensive, $8.5 million. Does anyone think that's worth it for Jimenez?
Definitely, I would say personally.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think Jimenez definitely. I think he's still gonna be one of the top five.
Yeah. He's just consistent. He's always going to get points.
The one thing is that, the Wolves aren't exactly high scorers, right? I think in the last 3 games they've scored 1 goal in each. Yes, they've got 2 wins and a draw, so unbeaten, but only 3 goals. And then at the other side, not conceding much as well, though. So maybe there's some value in defenders, and I think Saiss. I think there definitely is value in him at 5.2 million at the back. He picked up another clean sheet this weekend, and that's 3 in a row. And can they keep that up? Looking at their fixtures coming forward, obviously Crystal Palace will just come to them, but Leicester and then Southampton after, it's going to be difficult. But I think for a defender that can get forward, Saiss is worth a gamble in there.
And he played left wing this weekend as well, didn't he?
He was up there, yeah, exactly. So constantly up there. Even if he's at left back, he's pretty much a winger there. He's also up and down the pitch, so that's why I think there's real value there. Coming to Crystal Palace, I think there's less choice. There's only really one position and one standout there, and a solid choice at a midfielder has to be Zaha, right? 48 points already this season. 2 weeks he's in the double figures and all that for 7.3 million. I think it's not a bad bet in there.
What do you think the score's going to be, Sean?
Again, I see Wolves keeping it tight in Crystal Palace. They're not exactly big scorers themselves, so I'm actually going to go and say relatively boring and a bad result for fantasy football fans would be 1-1.
1-1. So we're seeing Wolves letting a goal in. Wolves do have that Kilman lad at the back, 4.1. He's got a little bit of a run going. We did talk about him last week and said worth perhaps getting in for a cheap defender. Call him out again for everyone. I do think one thing you mentioned there is Jimenez, 8.5. You look at someone like Roberto Firmino, 9.3 million. I'd have Jimenez all day long compared to him. Okay, guys, moving into the second game of the week. It's Sheffield United versus Manchester City. Patrick Vieira, you have had a look at this game. Where's the points coming from? What's the score?
Well, as we know, Sheffield United did play well this game week, so I think they'll still be on a high for that, and they're pretty solid in defence. But I think Man City will get one over on them. Probably be a pretty low scoring game. I'm going to say 2-1 to Man City with KDB coming back into play, and our man who Pellers has called out a few times, Foden, to show his worth in that game too.
Do you think we should be getting KDB back in our teams if we haven't currently got him, Patrick?
So it's a tricky one because he's so expensive. So I'm going to wait for this game week to see how he does and then decide on the following game week.
Oh, it could be a dangerous little wait there. Seen them go wrong before waiting. And
it's if you have to do lots of surgery to get him back in your team, isn't it? Because to free up that amount of money is difficult.
Has anybody got 2 free transfers? I'm interested to know.
I bet nobody has.
I don't know, but I am tempted by the wild card. There's quite a few players to get out, but
you still got the wild card.
I've got 2 free transfers.
Me too, mate. So NBD's got 2. I've got 2. Vieira, have you got 2? I think you have, haven't you?
Yeah, I got 2. I think I had 2 last week, but I didn't know what to do with them. So.
I'm well jealous.
Holding him, mate. Holding on.
Just give it to me, Vieira. I'll use it. I need him.
That's right.
We should all donate one to Captain. I think Captain needs one more than anyone. Donate a whole new team to him. Okay, so Patrick, who do you think is going to score for Sheffield United?
I didn't see Brewster doing too much in the game, so I don't think he's going to get into full steam for a while. So I know he's very cheap, and he's probably good striker to have in your squad as like a bench filler at the moment. But I wouldn't put money on him. But maybe McBurney, he looked pretty, did some good work in the last game. So yeah, I'll put money on McBurney. Okay,
McBurney for the goal. I like the fact you pulled out Brewster there. NVD, I know you've got Brewster as well, and I bought him in. I was very disappointed with the guy. Is he just useless?
Look, I think it was his first full game that he played for. I know he got hauled off as well, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great showing from him. You've got to give the lad a little bit of time to bed into the squad. I don't think. Yeah, I think Vieira's right. I don't think really we'll see much of him until the second half of the season, and I think you will start to see him, bagging, a few goals. I think he's one of those strikers. He's not going to he doesn't link up the player or anything like that. He's a bit of a kind of a, in the box, fox in the box type of goal scorer. So, he just knows where the goal is. So now, bench filler, don't expect anything from him until next, after Christmas.
Okay, so it's 4.5 million wasted on the bench there.
If you've got him yet, or if you've got your free transfers, maybe look at getting him out.
Wildcard number 2, I think. Okay, no worries, boys. Thanks for the intel on that one. Moving into the third game of the weekend, it is Burnley versus Chelsea. I had the pleasure of looking at this one, and I'm going to say I think that it's going to be a tight game. Last week, I was calling loads of goals for Chelsea against Man U. It ended 0-0. Burnley looked quite solid against Spurs at the back. They turned it around a bit. And I think we all thought that Burnley were going to get whipped quite a lot this season because of how they started. But if you actually look at it, they've only let 9 goals in all season. We know they had a good defensive record last season. And I think they're turning that corner with the defence. I don't see this being a high scorer. I think Chelsea will just edge it. And I'm going to go 1-0 to Chelsea. Maybe controversial.
Wiener? Is it going to be the Wiener? I know he came off relatively early because he weren't quite doing it. Lampard seems to want to throw Abraham on when Werner's not doing it. So do you think he's good to stick with? We only a couple of weeks ago were singing his praises. Do you think he'll do it in this game?
I don't think it's going to be the Wiener. I actually think it's going to be Pulisic. So I think he's about time for Pulisic to get on the score sheet. And he looked, for me, the most attacking player for Chelsea against Man United. He looked like he has the most quality. He's very skillful. So I think Werner, not for me against Burnley. I don't think he likes playing against big, tall, strong defenders from his own first opinion of the Premier League. And I think Burnley encompassed that completely. And people might think it's a bit surprising that I'm saying that, Chelsea's going to win this 1-0 and keep another clean sheet. But kept a clean sheet against Man U, kept a clean sheet against Seville. They're starting to perhaps find their defensive form. So, and what we're seeing throughout the Premiership, it's getting tighter now. We did say, that we're not going to have all of these goals all the time. And NVD predicted that, game week 3 or 4. And I think maybe that's going to come to the realisation now, and it's getting a bit tighter. After what's happened so far, though, I could completely be wrong, and it could be 4-5-0. But I'm seeing 1-0 to Chelsea, and that's where I think the value is in Pulisic and any of the Chelsea defenders. Maybe Reece James. He started again in the game against United. He looked very good as well. Put in some fantastic crosses. So if you're going to get a Chelsea defender, Reece James, if you're looking for the match winner, for me, it's going to be Pulisic. Moving on from that game, the next game, game week 7, game 4 on the Saturday, Liverpool versus West Ham. Pellers, your lads up against NVDs. What's going to happen?
Big game. I think me and NVD are going to try and watch it this Saturday.
That's right. After we go trick-or-treating, right, mate?
Exactly. We go trick-or-treating, then we're going to watch the West Ham game, then we'll just, whoever wins buys the beers. But
I hope you guys will be socially distanced and sitting on different tables.
We will be socially distanced.
Always.
Down Smithfields.
Told you, Hibs Hearts is on at the same time. The big game of the weekend.
Yes, we're going to watch. We're going to have multiple screens. We're going to watch all together.
We'll be walking into the pub, and there'll be Pellers with his West Ham COVID mask, and then NVD's got his Liverpool. Sean John McGinn fanboy, half Hibs, half Villa.
Don't worry, mate. I have my West Ham thong on.
Stolen from Pellers' underwear. But anyhow, guys, what's the score going to be in this game? Pellers, what do you think?
Oh, you know what? I'm kind of, what's ringing in my ears is it's about time that West Ham kind of slipped up a little bit. And I hate to say it, because I keep doing it every week. I keep saying, I think Liverpool will just be one step too far. I think Man City, we got a good result against them, 1-1, but they did look dangerous in the second half. We are still susceptible to conceding goals, right? We've done really well, we've turned a corner, but I just think Salah, the way he's playing at the moment, I know for FPL reasons, people might be looking, saying, oh, he only got 2 points, but he was still brilliant. And he still looks like one of the best players, in the Premier League, deservedly. And I just think this will be too far for West Ham. I think it will be a Liverpool win at Anfield. They haven't lost in. I can't even remember the last time they lost.
2017 it was.
West Ham player. It's going to be
West, month.
It's going to be my man Jared Bowen, 6.3 million. If there's anyone who's going to do anything this weekend, it's Jared Bowen. The other thing that's going to be hinging is Antonio got a bit of a hamstring problem. So if he doesn't play, where the goal's going to come from? But
it's an interesting one because I look at how West Ham have played against the big teams, right? 3-0 against Tottenham, 1-0 against Man City. I do think Liverpool, will just actually shade it. I think there will be goals in this game, even though it's great having Alisson back. Fabinho slotted into defence well. I think they're still a little bit susceptible at times. I think West Ham, the way I've seen them play, could exploit that. So I'm actually kind of going for a 3-2. I think you're right with the players that you called out for West Ham. Even though none of us getting Bowen, but you've been mentioning him since he joined.
And Souček always goes close.
He does.
He does. I'm still going to fly the Souček. Still going to fly it.
I mean, Liverpool, you can't really look past, Salah, and obviously Mane got the assist, to be honest, for Jota's goal. Interesting is actually kind of because there's a slight change of formation, Klopp going to a 4-2-3-1. What that actually starts to do is opens up opportunities for not only Jota, but for Firmino as well. Now, I'm not saying FPL managers should rush out and get that, but if Klopp continues playing that system, then those players are going to be more brought into the game. So just one to keep an eye on, and they could be on the score sheet again. I'm liked how Jota started his career at Liverpool, already 2 goals in as many games, so not bad. But yeah, I think we
3 million as well.
What? Sorry,
he's only 6.3 million.
He is, yeah. It's just that you don't know if he's always going to start, really. I mean, he's starting right now in that formation. He's getting game time, but he can easily revert back to the kind of the beloved 4-3-3, and then it's back to that front trio, and he's coming on from the bench. So and he'd be expensive, as one of your bench players for 6.3. But yeah,
Bowen.
Decisions. But I think 3-2 is what I'm going for. I'm actually going. I'm not even going to back Salah this week. I keep backing him every week. I'm going for Mane, Firmino. I think Firmino is going to get the double and Mane.
There we have it then. NVD has not backed Salah, so Salah is definitely going to get a haul this week. You heard it. Probably a hat-trick, maybe a double.
Good job he's in my team.
Guys, I've got a question for you that's come in from Twitter. It's about Liverpool, and we've covered both Liverpool and Wolves. But this has come in all the way from our friends in Canada. So FPL Canada have asked us this one. Are Wolves, with Kilman and Seiss, a better defensive bang for your buck than Liverpool with Trent and Robbo? Given the price...
Purely on price, you would say, but proven...
You've got to do
proven assists. Really. Yeah. Proven assists. I mean, sure, I think there's probably an argument for right now with some of Liverpool's defensive fragility that you could say on that front, yeah, the Wolves players are better, but you've got 2 of the best kind of, fullbacks in terms of assists in FPL, if not just generally in football. So, no, I mean, I'd always, come the end of the season, they're going to have more points than those Wolves players.
And I think what you touched upon about Fabinho, coming back at that centre-back, he looks so comfortable there, doesn't he? Even though you're out of Van Dijk, that's obviously, that was a big headline last week, and he got injured, quite a controversial tackle from Pickford and everything. But Fabinho he just looks like the real deal. He looks like you could put him anywhere on a pitch and he'll be comfortable, and especially, like you say, he did play centre-back for Moscow, I believe, before he came to Liverpool. And
Monaco.
I don't think you really need to be out on the hunt in January, potentially for a centre-back. There's been talk about, getting a new centre-back in, and I think he looks good. So, and now Alisson's back, and we know how much confidence that will give the back line. So, yeah, I think clean sheets could be on the horizon for Liverpool.
They certainly could be. And if that's the case, then definitely Kilman and Seiss over Trent and Robertson, not for me. I think if you're looking for the value, you go for Robertson for the cheaper option from Liverpool, and you bring in Seiss from Wolves and you cover both of them that way. And if you really want to be pikey, get in Kilman instead of Sice, and then you'll save even more money. And then you can buy a Fulham player, can't you, Patrick?
That's a low blow.
Mitrovic.
Oh, you can buy him anyway.
Then pick
All
a
right,
fag
guys, there you
butt
go. FPL Canada, thank you for the question. That's our kind of thoughts on that one. We move into the 5th game of game week 7. That is Aston Villa against Southampton. You're going to hear from none other than Sean, the John McGinn fanboy. What's the score here? Are Villa back to winning ways, Sean?
It's a shame for Villa, right? It looks like the train came to a sudden stop. It completely crashed into the barrier, and I'm worried that it's going to take a while to get back on its tracks. 3-0 from against Leeds wasn't really what we saw coming. Anyone, and I'm hesitant to bet for them again this weekend, and I think Southampton might take the honours here. They've been scoring goals recently, Southampton. I can see them getting another couple this week. So ultimately, I'm going to go 2-0 for Southampton this week, and I think the only thing is stay with Danny Wings. 2 assists this week. It wasn't quite a goal, which is what we come to expect for him. So he's diversified himself a bit. A couple of assists, and I'll take that. And I know Southampton had the ball in the net for a 3rd time, not long after their second, right before it was rolled out. And they've got the potential to score, and they can defend. So why not stay with them?
They're looking very good, Southampton, actually. I think, they started off with quite a bad defeat earlier in the season, and they've turned it around, sort of like they did last year. So I think with Danny Ings as well, the 2 assists he got were fantastic, like beautiful passes. They weren't just fluky ones. So he's definitely one to look at. So it's a good call out. They did lose 5-2, wasn't it, to Spurs, but they've turned it round. So Sean's seeing Villa losing, Southampton winning. We move into the next game of the week. That is
Newcastle Everton.
Indeed. Who had a look at this tasty fixture for us?
Yeah, so that was myself, Jimmy. I think I'm going to start with Callum Wilson. It's at home for Newcastle. Callum Wilson, really coming back to haunt me because I got rid of him and put Aguero in, as we all know, and still scored, and he's been consistent. And would you know that he's on 41 points for the season? It's the same as Rodriguez, and that's quite surprising to hear that. He's only 3 points behind Calvert-Lewin. So Wilson is proving to be the go-to player for Newcastle. He's involved with everything.
Yeah.
Home, I can see him getting at least an assist or a goal here.
And he got the assist in the game just gone, right? But that was because he won the free kick from which Murphy scores from. Correct.
Exactly. He's involved with everything. He really does. He drops back. A bit like, how Kane's been doing that for Tottenham. He kind of gets involved almost in the midfield play and the build-up play, and then gets back in the box and, gets on the end of crosses. Again, if Maximum stays fit, then I think Wilson really plays well because them two just link up really well. In terms of the overall result, I think Everton will bounce back, even if they do not have Rodriguez, let's say, a bit of a doubt. Digne, obviously, is going to be suspended, and Richarlison. I think Everton will bounce back, but I think it will be a 2-2 overall. I think there's going to be goals in this game. I think both defences are going to be a bit shaky. I think it's going to be quite an open game, just the way they both like to play. I see Wilson getting a double. And I would actually see a few set pieces for Everton. I think Rodriguez will get on the score sheet, and I'm going to back Keane, a header from a corner. I just think he's good in the box. He's got quite a few points from set pieces so far, so that'll be 2-2 from me.
Mate, you don't get any extra points for predicting exactly how he's going to score. A header from a corner.
That's
very
a good
precise, mate.
Point. I was just visualising. I had to. Articulate that.
Shouldn't get extra points if that happens. You should get an extra 10.
Let's get bonus points. 10. Let's go straight to the top of the league.
And it doesn't happen, you get -10 for being so cocky.
There you go then. Lots of points in that one from Pellers. He's seeing Newcastle and Everton finishing 2-2. Pellers, Morpay or Wilson?
Wilson.
Wilson. Good, thanks. That's my transfer sorted for the week then. Thank you, Pellers. Moving into the next game of the week, it is, of course, Manchester United versus Arsenal. Let's get an impartial view on this one then. I I think I'll take it. So I think Man United will win, yeah. No, I mean, to be as impartial as I can, obviously I've looked at this. Manchester United are not playing great stuff at the moment, and Arsenal similarly are not playing great stuff, probably playing potentially worse than Man United.
What's happened to Aubameyang? He hasn't done anything lately, has he?
So quiet, so quiet. And I was going to say, Arsenal, right, they've only scored 8 goals all season, but they've only let in 7, which I think is pretty decent. So they're not that bad at the back, whereas United... we've let in 12 goals, which is a fair few more, but only scored 9. So only scored 2 more than Arsenal. And Arsenal haven't scored for, the last 2 games running, where they lost 1-0 to City and then they lost 1-0 to Leicester. So where has Aubameyang been? Maybe this is his time to turn it round. United, off the back of a clean sheet, will take that, but I don't see us recording another clean sheet. I think that's one and done. Aubameyang always seems to get on the score sheet against Manchester United. And when I watched Arsenal versus Leicester, Arsenal were unlucky not to get something from the game. Lacazette, for me, was playing really well. I like Bellerin. I know he's not Patrick Vieira's favourite, but I can see him doing something. So Bellerin and Aubameyang are my 2 tips for points from the Arsenal side. And Lacazette potentially a third. But if I had to call it, I'd say Aubameyang and Bellerin. It's time for Aubameyang to come back. The final score in the game, of course, is going to be a 2-1 victory to Manchester United. So that's where the goal's coming from Arsenal. I do think United will get a couple. And I feel as though Rashford, for me, was the most dangerous player, in my opinion, against Chelsea. Just hits the ball so well. I can see him getting on the score sheet against Arsenal this time. And I can also see, Cavani. I know we spoke about it earlier, but I could see him coming on and nicking the winner. So I'm going to go Cavani and Rashford, and both assists are coming from Fernandes in this game. Who else would it be but Fernandes? So I'm calling out your premiums from United. That's where I'm seeing it. It's going to be 2-1 if you ask me. If anyone disagrees, shout now. Otherwise, we're moving to Spurs versus Brighton.
I think you're spot on there. I think, United will win. Spurs-Brighton. I mean, Spurs picked up a good result against Burnley. I think everyone thought that they were going to absolutely smash them with Burnley's defensive problems. But, I think even the captain said that they were slightly lucky in the game. I do think, however, that they are going to win. They're at home, for whatever that counts, against Brighton. You just got that great telepathic connection between Kane and Son now. And, you could probably start to then argue that you want to put the captain's armband more on Son because he's more likely to score than Kane, because Kane's busy assisting. I'm actually going to go 3-1. Even though Spurs defence, they kept a clean sheet for what was the first time this season. Don't really kind of see it continuing, to be honest. So, I think kind of Maupay is naturally the go-to person for Brighton. Trossard is I guess kind of a good creator for him. So those are your 2 shouts from Brighton, really. If you've got them in your team, I know quite a few folks have got Maupay in, and we just discussed whether you get him out for Wilson. But Maupay, I think he'll get on in the score sheet. You can't look past Son and Kane, really. I mean, that's
MVD,
why.
I have to ask, for those who there's a lot of people who've got Son in, right? If you don't,
54.8% of managers have got him, so over half.
If you don't have Kane, if you don't have the double up, is it worth taking a 4-point hit to get Kane, to create a bit of money, let's say, out of the midfield and getting Kane in? Is it that desperate? Are we all going to lose out if we don't have Kane in our team as well?
I mean, you should take
Aguero, fellas.
Yeah,
Aguero's good, mate.
I mean, look, we've all heard that you should avoid at all costs trying to take the 4-point hit. But I mean, you look at the imperious form that both of them are in, and I think against Brighton, who, to be fair, even though they've scored 10 goals, they've conceded 12, which is up there in double figures with quite a few teams. So they're likely to concede. So I think if you haven't got them in, and you haven't played your Wildy, if you've already played your Wildy, then I think it's worth taking the hit and jumping on the bandwagon, like pretty much most of us have.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd stick with Son. Really, if you haven't got Kane in your team, use the money elsewhere, and obviously you'd look to make Son your captain because he's getting constantly fed by Kane. So he's always going to be on the score sheet.
I think you need both, mate. I think it's interesting about they're in a purple patch right now, 69 points and 65 points respectively. Which striker's doing better than Kane at the moment, really? Like, I mean, he's getting the consistency. He's bringing your points in. All right, 1 assist today. A little bit disappointing, but I think they're in a purple patch. I did like what you also said, NVD, about Morpay. He's the man to have. I've had him 2 weeks, nothing. He's the man to have until I get him in, and then he does nothing.
Well, you're going to get rid, so he's going to haul.
I hope he does, but against Spurs, I'm not holding out much luck or hope for that. Anyhow, we move into the next game. It's game 9. It's Fulham versus West Brom. Patrick Vieira, your team Fulham, are they going to get a win for the first time this season?
This is it. This is the week that they get their first win. I think I've been saying that every week, but no, this is it. I mean, if they can't do it against West Brom, then they are in trouble. But they're definitely playing better and better. And I think they'll get 2 goals. West Brom will probably get a goal in because, they're not too bad. They played a good second half on this week's game week. But there is a bit of trouble in the back room there too. So I think Fulham will be the winners here. And they've got a loaner in called Lookman, he's only played a couple of full games there, the last 2 full games. But he's like the playmaker. He's always involved. He's English guy, but he's on loan from
Leipzig.
That's it. That's the one. He's on loan from them. And yeah, he's making a real difference there. So he's going to get a goal, and I think Mitrovic will get a goal too. So 2-1 to Fulham.
What I think is a great call out is that Lookman, because he hit the post, didn't he, against Palace, and he looked very dangerous. So I do like that call out. Hopefully Fulham will get the win. And then, guys, we've got one game to round it out. It is Leeds versus Leicester. Now, Leeds in 6th, Leicester in 4th. Pretty good game. Does anyone
tempted to get Jamie Vardy back?
Yes. He comes straight back and scores. I mean, that's
I was thinking about it.
I wouldn't have him over Kane, though. And, you've got to think, who do you get?
The price point,
at that price range. And the one thing was, it was a great cross. And for me, they had Harvey Barnes up top in the first half, and Harvey Barnes is wasted up there because he just didn't get the service. And also, he's more of the attacking guy that runs at them. But for Leicester versus Leeds, do you guys think Vardy will be on the score sheet? Do you think Leicester are going to beat Leeds, or what do people think?
I think Vardy will definitely score in this. I think John McGinn fanboys hit the nail on the head with the Vardy question because he's proved it time and time again.
He has scored more goals than Kane this year, obviously playing a game less, and he's got 6 and not 5. He just doesn't get as many assists, right? So and a lot of his goals have been from the penalty spot. But against Leeds, I could see him getting a couple.
So Leicester are going to beat Leeds. Is that what everyone thinks?
Going to go 2-0 for me.
I think Leicester will beat Leeds.
Yeah,
I think Leicester will beat them.
There you go, Leicester to beat Leeds. 2-0 is what I've heard there. That's what the guys are saying. We shall see. Anyhow, guys, that rounds out the Game Week 7 fixtures. There's obviously only one thing left to discuss. It is the LeftBack FPL poddy team. We've gone full circle. We're into Game Week 7. So that means it goes back to the manager from Game Week 1. That's you, Ricky Pellegrini. Tell us, what are you thinking about doing to the team?
Oh, I'm going to have to do a bit of surgery here. No, I'm not going to take any hits. I'll probably just wait until, the deadline, towards the deadline, and just see who's fit, who's, in form. But probably looking at that midfield, maybe shuffling that around about a bit. Sorry, my words are going there.
It's on paper, it's a good team. It's just not really been working recently, has it?
It's not, and it's do you stick or twist, right? Do you stay patient? Because I can see what the nucleus of the team is good. I like the John McGinn actually. I think he's been good. I wouldn't change too much, so I might end up swapping Morpay out for the Wilson.
And we'll get a hat trick for Morpay this week. You've heard it here first, listeners.
Excellent stuff then, Pellers. We'll see what you're going to do with that team then next week. Hopefully you'll beat the 40 points that Patrick Vieira brought in this week with John McGinn. I am not convinced personally on John McGinn.
At home against Southampton? Yeah. I don't know. He looks good. He's cheap as well, and he's good option.
I didn't waste any money. I just switched him out for that other guy. I didn't spend any more money. Don't worry.
Stop being a bully, Jimmy Ferg. Leave him alone.
0.1 to spend, mate.
I saved it. I saved it in the bank for Ricky.
Oh, you're kind-hearted, gent. Okay, lads. There we go then. That's the podcast team. Good luck, Rick. Hopefully you can get us back up the table. That moves us into the last segment of the week. It is, of course, Captain Contenders. This is the moment of the week that can make or break your team. If you'd have gone Bamford last week, you'd have been singing all the way to the shower.
Singing all your way to your purple patch.
Absolutely right there. So, Patrick Vieira, I think we've already heard from you. You were thinking of No, we have not heard from anyone, have we?
Not yet.
Okay. Pellers, you're in charge of the podcast team this week. Where are you looking for captain?
I hate to say it, but I think Salah at home. Salah very rarely blanks at home at Anfield, and Liverpool very rarely. Well, they haven't lost. How many? Has it been 2 years since they've lost at home at Anfield? So I think Liverpool don't look any further. I think it's unfortunately time for West Ham to lose a game off their streak. I think Mo Salah.
When was the last defeat at Anfield, NVD?
I think it was Man City in 2017, I think. 1-0.
Long time ago, right? And just the emphasis on Salah, he still looks amazing. Even though he only got the 2 points, he deserved more, right? He's still one of the best players, if not the best player on the pitch, I think.
Yeah, excellent stuff. And obviously, NVD there, May 2017, you spot on. You know your stuff. But do you know who's supposed to be your captain this week?
I'm going to go with Sonny Boy. I think the so-called purple patch, he's going to be profitable off. So I think Kane the provider yet again, and I think having gone between Salah and Kane, maybe it's now time to punt on Sonny Boy.
So Son's looking purple. Patrick Vieira. What are you looking at?
Yeah, it's a toss-up between Salah and Son, and I'm not sure which to go with yet. But I know Liverpool have got a pretty heavy game schedule over the next few weeks, I think. So I'm not sure whether that will play into my final decision. But I think at the moment I'm going to go with Salah.
Salah for you, Salah for Pellers, Son for NVD. Sean, John McGinn fanboy?
Everyone, right? You can only go between the two of them. It's like you're scared to miss out. I've been sitting here and the last hour I've changed between both of them 3 times. I'm currently on Son, I think. So I don't know. I keep switching. Maybe I'll just go. But yeah, so I think Son it has to be. But I'm always tempted to go right out the left wing, and I don't know. Maybe DCL. Joe wrote him off earlier.
DCL. An interesting outside of the box choice from Sean the John McGinn fanboy. I'm going to also play it pretty damn safe and go with that Liverpool game. I just think the Liverpool game looks so tasty and there's going to be goals in it. And I'm going to go Mane, though. I just feel that Mane is getting in dangerous positions. I mean, he did get 2 assists in the last game, but he got on the end of that header as well. And I can just see Mane getting a couple against West Ham for some reason.
It's a differential. His ownership is so much lower than Salah, and his captain percentages is lower as well, right? Him, you're going to...
How many people own him?
About 6.
Only 6 people?
Yes.
It's a real good differential.
Oh, mate. Just made that up.
9.3% have managers.
47.7. It's like...
9.3% have Mane, 47% have Salah.
That's right.
Right, and he's just amazing, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I think he will. He's definitely going to be on the score sheet.
There you go then. We'll end the show on that note. Mane is my tip. The other lads, though, Salah is where most are looking, and Son is also up there. And that concludes the week, gents. Only a couple of things left to do. Quick shout-outs to our Twitter and Reddit pages. If you want to follow us on either, it's at LeftBack FPL. Please do join. We love being part of the community and we really appreciate everybody's support and feedback and inputs. Keep your questions coming and we'll do our best to answer them. If you want to get in touch...
Well, sorry.
John McGinn fanboy.
Yeah, you can also join our league as well if you want to see how you compare against the pundits and the other fans. And to join that league, all you need to do is go on the fantasy website and type in 06S7S8. That's the code. It's 06S7S8.
Excellent stuff. That's how you join our league. Please do. We love to name and shame and also call out the leaders. If you want to go on the website, leftbackfpl.com, that's where you'll find all the great stuff on the blog. Please have a little read on that. And if you want to send us an email, because you're old school, like Borat did to get on the show, it's leftinthechangingroom@gmail.com. Gentlemen, I thank you all very much. I wish none of you a prosperous Game Week 7 other than myself. But I'll see you all next week.